Hi, this is Joel. Long before Wordle and connections became popular, I have always enjoyed solving word and logic puzzles. So in this video, I'm going to show you my interest, my hobby, solving puzzles. Growing up, my mom would have a subscription to People magazine and would solve its crossword puzzle. She still does that today. That may be where I got interested in solving puzzles, but as kids, we had subscriptions to Boy's Life, The Children's Friend, and Highlights magazines. Instead of reading the articles, I was always drawn to the puzzle sections. I travel a lot for work, and early on, I'd look forward to completing the crossword and puzzles in the airline magazine. But sometimes I would find the puzzles in the magazine in my seat were completed by an earlier passenger. I then discovered these puzzle magazines that you can find at shops in the airport or other bookstores. I now always take one with me as I travel. There's usually one on my nightstand along with my other nightly reading material. I try to solve or work on a puzzle each night before I go to bed. Throughout our house, there are usually magazines in the bathrooms too. These magazines have traditional puzzles like Sudoku and word search, but there are variations on crosswords like flower power, where answers are clockwise or counterclockwise, or where you choose the word but there may be more than one letter per box, or some where a letter may fill a box but span multiple words. Also, logic puzzles where you are given a situation with clues about multiple people, their names, skills, etc., and you need to figure out who is who. There are also math-related puzzles. You'll be tempted to create algebra equations to solve, but it's best to try to use logic more than algebra. In the kakuros, you add numbers 1 through 9 without repeating to make the sum at the beginning of a row or a column. For example, in this column, I need two numbers that sum to 3, which would be 1 and 2. The corresponding row tells me where to place them. If I place 1 here, then I'll need to enter 10 here to equal 11. But since we can only use numbers 1 through 9, it must be a 2. That makes the others in that row 9 in order to sum to 11. In the row above, I've already used a 1, so the two remaining numbers must equal 16. I can't repeat numbers, so 8 and 8 won't work, so they must be 7 and 9. Since I've used 9 here, this must be 7. You keep following the logical relationships until you finish the puzzle. Cryptograms are fun word puzzles. These each have a unique code where one letter represents a different letter. You use your understanding of sentence structure to try to solve these. I first start by looking at 1, 2, or 3-letter words. For example, in number 2 here, there are a lot of 3-letter words, OXJ. A 3-letter word is typically the or and. Since the first sentence starts with a 3-letter word and you usually don't start with and in a sentence, also, you're not going to say and in a sentence. There's a good chance that this is the. So I know O is T, X is H, and J is E. I can then replace all those letters throughout the puzzle. I now see I have 2-letter words that start with T. That can only be 2, so now I know F equals 0. A 3-letter word that starts with T but ends with O most likely would be 2, TWO. From there, I'll start seeing more sentence and word patterns until I complete the quote or phrase. When I was younger, I would use a pencil and eraser, erasing my mistakes as I went along. I'm not sure why I cared. I made mistakes all the time. I now complete them in pen. If I make a mistake, I just fix it with a bolder pen marking. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. And that's a true principle in all aspects of life. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Thank you for listening to what I'm doing now. I hope you too have fun solving puzzles.